Cute as a cupcake, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Get by Cute as a Cupcake at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Now, if you're anywhere else in the country, you can contact them at www.cuteasacupcake3.com, and you can have cupcakes delivered directly to your door. Cute as a Cupcake, cupcakery and bake shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly, truly appreciate it. So, what are we going to get into today? So, I'm going to just recap a little bit on last week. We talked about that FICO score scale that's out. So I found some additional information regarding that. So I'm going to spit that out to you for a little bit. And then, of course, we're going to get into some more credit things, something that hopefully will help you with your plan to increase your credit score. You need a plan to actually increase your credit score. So no just throwing spaghetti against the wall and see what stick. The best made plans are going to be the ones that's going to increase your credit score and get you to where you want to be, whatever that goal is. Because you know, if you increase your credit score, it's going to lower the interest rates that you pay. It's going to lower any kind of deposits that you might have to pay, things of that nature. And it is going to save you money at the end of the day. So we're going to talk about those things today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So stay tuned, stay in with me, and let's get those things done. So you know how I like to do it. I like to start with the youngest among us when I'm going to give a shout out. And so I'm going to take a point of personal privilege right here, and I'm going to shout out Cameron King. Yes, Cameron of Kobe, Cameron and Carter celebrated his 10th birthday. Son, I can't believe that you are 10 years old. Yes, he celebrated his 10th birthday this week, and so I want to say happy birthday to you, son. You know how much I love you, and at the end of the show, I'm going to do my bragging on Cameron, because a lot of y'all complain about the shout outs that I have and this, that, and the other, and frankly, too bad. It's my show. So if I want to shout out people, if I want to shout out 5 people, 10 people, 30 people, if people contact me and they say, hey, can I get a shout out? I'm going to give them a shout out for their birthday, for their wedding, for their anniversary, and what have you. That's what I do. So you can feel free to fast forward past those things. But listen, you don't pay a dime for this show, right? Unless you are subscribing to some service and they make you pay so you can listen to the 800 Credit Score Man Show, of which you do not have to do. You can catch the show on YouTube. You can catch the show on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker.com. Where else? Anywhere that there are podcasts, you can catch this podcast for the free. So part of what you do in paying for it, if you will, is to listen to some of my rantings every now and then. And shout outs are definitely one of my rantings. I got to give a shout out to Katrina Bradley, the original KK. So that's my cousin, you guys. Used to be Katrina King. And I want to say happy birthday to you, cuz happy birthday. Today is her birthday. And I got to give a big shout out to Sean and Frederica Johnson now. Their wedding, their nuptials were not canceled because of COVID. They tied the knot today. So congratulations and best wishes to Sean and Frederica Johnson. All right, so let me jump into this a little bit. I said I was going to tell you guys about the FICO score and whatnot, and what we talked about last week with the new scoring scale, if you will. So, some new information that I came across today, this week. 67% of Americans have a good FICO score or better. Again, 67% of users in America have a good FICO score or better. Now, what is good? If you don't remember from the scale, let's talk about this. So, poor credit. Anything 579 and under. So your score runs from 300 to 850, right? 579 and under, 16% of Americans fall into this particular range, 579 or under. That's poor credit. Fair credit is a 580 to 669. 17% of Americans fall into this particular category. That's fair credit, right? Then you have good credit. Good credit is considered 670 to 739. That's good credit. 21% of Americans have a good credit score. Now, 25% of Americans have very good credit, and this particular category falls from 740 to 799. So right button up to 800 is very good credit. 25% of Americans have very good credit. And then 21% of Americans have what they're calling exceptional credit now, and that's 800 to that 850. So again, 67% of Americans have a good FICO score or better. Good was 670 to 739. That's where you are. So if you fall in these categories, look at your credit score, and we're talking FICO because that's the one that 90% of lenders are using when they make decisions about if they're going to lend you money or what's going to happen with your credit, right? So you want to make sure that you are in the upper range, right? So you want to be good, very good, exceptional. Fair is actually okay. Fair is not that bad, but if you're in that poor section, which is 579 or less, you absolutely want to get out of that poor section, all right? So where do you fit? Where do you fall? Take a look, take a good, honest look, and see where you fall when it comes to your FICO score. If you fall anywhere in the lower range of this, then you're in the right place, because the 800 Credit Score Man Show is here to help you get to where you want to go when it comes to your credit scores. And if you're in the very good, if you're in the good, even if you're in exceptional, keep listening, because maybe one day, one of the issues might come up that you may not know how to tackle on your own, and perhaps that we've covered that in the 800 Credit Score Man Show. And if we haven't covered it in the 800 Credit Score Man Show, all you got to do is contact me. All you got to do is send me an email, 800@creditscoreman.com, and I'll do my best to get it in the show, whether it comes as a question of the day or we do an entire show topic about what is bothering you or what issue you need help with your credit. So you keep contacting me, 800@creditscoreman.com, so we can help you with your credit and your credit score increase. So what did I say we were going to talk about? We're going to talk about credit increase and having a plan to do so. A plan and a strategy. You absolutely need a plan and a strategy to help you with your credit. Like I said, you can't just throw the spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. That's not the best strategy to have. Now, wherever you work, whatever you do for a living, your company has some kind of goal. Even if you're in customer service. If you're in customer service, you have some kind of goal. We want to meet this kind of rating. When we ask our customers, how are we doing? Or we want to help a certain amount of people every day, every month, every quarter, every year, whatever it is, you have a goal. If you're in finance, of course you got a goal. You might have a monetary goal. You may have a number of accounts that you want to help type of goal. How much interest can we make for our investors, things of that nature. Wherever you are, most likely you have a goal. Even if you work at Burger King, you have a goal. You want to sell X amount of Whoppers. This is what we want to do. Or you have a goal of, we want to get people through this drive-through in 3 minutes or less. Whatever it is, you have a goal. So you set your goal and then you try to achieve it. And you create a plan and a strategy to get to that goal. Same difference when it comes to your credit score. You need to have a goal and a plan to get there. So again, no throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. Now, where do you want to start? Where do you want to start? Where do you want to go? Of course, you're going to start by getting your credit report. Do I need to keep saying that? You need to start by getting your credit report, and there are a bunch of places where you can get your credit report. If you don't know where to get your credit report by now, and at this point, again, contact me, 800@creditscoreman.com, or just go back and listen to a couple of shows. I'm sure I mention it all of the time that you need to get your credit report. Now, once you get your credit report, what are you going to do? You're going to look at any and all negatives that you have on your credit report. So that's late payments, and you got late payments on there. If you look at your late payments, now what are you going to do with your late payments? Because you got them. So now what? So they're on there. What are you supposed to do? Now, a late payment, just to step back, is considered 30 days late or more past your due date. that's when you get a late payment placed onto your credit report. So if you've been 5 days late, 10, 20 days late, not necessarily mean that's on your credit report as a late payment. Even if you've had to pay those late payment fees, no matter if it's with a credit card or your car note or your mortgage, whatever it is, if it's not 30 days late, it's not going to hit your credit report. If it did hit your credit report and you did make that payment before the 30 days, you're going to call up the company. Call up the company first. That's probably one of the simplest things to do. Call up the company and say, hey, when did that payment get made to you? When did you receive that payment? And if they say within the 30-day period, you're going to tell them, hey, it's showing up on my credit report as a late payment. I need you to remove that for me. And they should gladly do that, especially with you being a customer of theirs. They should gladly do that. So beyond that, well, if we got these late payments on your credit report, now what are you going to do now? What you're going to do is, one of the simplest things is, again, like you actually were late, call up that account. Call up the account if the account is open and active. I'm not saying call people that, you have charge-offs with and things of that nature. If that account is open and active, you're paying them every month, you still have money on that card or whatever it is, call them up and simply ask them for some grace on their part. Can you remove these late payments from my credit report? And you want to just start with all of them. If you've got 8, if you've got 10, I don't care if it's over the last 10 years or if it's over the last 5 months. If you've got, late payments, give them a call and say, hey, I want you to remove all of my late payments for me. Now, if they say no, which is a good possibility they'll say no, we won't do it for a plethora of reasons. They'll say no. If they say no, then it's like negotiating anything else. Okay, then if you can't remove all 5, then how about 4? If they say no, we can't do 4, maybe you'll get 1 or 2 of them removed from your credit report. Each time you get a late payment, it can drop your score anywhere from 30 to 100 points. So you're not necessarily going to get all of those points back, but if you can get them to remove 1 or 2 late payments, that'll do wonders for your credit report and your credit score. And then all you do is rinse and repeat. So if you got other accounts that have the same thing has happened, give them all a call. So if you have 5 accounts and you've got a bunch of late payments on your credit report, say you got 14 late payments on your credit report. I picked 14 because I just saw somebody's credit report and they hit 14. So if you got, that many late payments and it's over 5 accounts and each account agrees to take off 2 late payments, then you got 10 of them removed. That's going to absolutely help you with your credit score. So just give them a call and do that. Now, if you don't want to call and you don't want to talk to them, you can always send them a letter. It's easy for them to say no in a letter, right? They might write you back. They might take 30 days to write you back. They might take longer than that to write you back and respond to it. So if you can give them a call then and you feel comfortable with that kind of negotiation, then absolutely give them a call. But you can also write them a letter. These letters typically are called goodwill letters. Write them a letter saying, hey, here was my issue. I had an issue. I had a stopgap in my job. I had an emergency. Somebody went in the hospital. COVID really jacked me up. Whatever it is, you go ahead, you give them a call and you let them know what went on. That issue has been corrected. It won't happen again. I'd like you to take a look at my track record prior to these late payments. I was perfectly fine. I paid you every month on time, no late payments. And then I had that issue and it lasted for a couple of months. It has now been corrected and there won't be any issues in the future. And if you've got this and these payments are older, they're 2 years old, they're 3 years old or what have you, then you let them know. Look at my track record since I did have that late payment. Since then, like I told you before, it's been corrected and I've been paying perfectly since then. So if you can do me a favor, or I'm asking for an exception to your rule, can you please remove this late payment from my credit report? And if they get that done, it's going to absolutely help you with your credit score. So you absolutely want to do that. Now, the next negative thing I want you to look at, if you have this on your credit report, are collections, of course. So file a dispute. I don't care if you think it's yours, if it's not yours, you just never know. Now, the disputes are going to take a longer time for them to get resolved, or if you will. Typically it's 30 to 35 days. They've got to make a decision, and they've got to let you know what that is. because of COVID, they're giving companies a little more